What's going on, guys? Welcome back to RC4wd. So, got a lot of stuff going on. I need to clean this shop up a little bit, and I've got a few little projects we're going to knock out today. It's going to be a kind of a scale garage hangout. Got a lot of cleaning and organizing, but I've got some projects that I've been sitting on for a long time, and it's not worth having their own video for. So, I got to find a place for everything. I'm hemorrhaging as far as space goes, and I'm hoping in the next month or so we'll have that issue sorted out. But just trying to live in one room and the studio and everything, it's just cramped, and I keep getting new cars, so we're just running out of space. I've got every bare wall covered with shelves and done pretty much all I can in here, so it's time to move to bigger and better things. But this video I've got a bumper for my Galan 2 D90. We haven't done anything with that truck in a while. We did a bunch of cool stuff back after it first came out. Some RC4 drive accessories, wheels and tires. I've got a rear bumper I've had for 4 months that I haven't put on it yet. We gotta see if we can find a spare tire to mount on the back. I've got a good CB antenna. Remember the one I put on the blue Blazer? That was Twisted Tree RC. I picked up one for the Amigo because the one that's been on there, I had a tennis ball on it that I'd found a long time ago. And it was a dollhouse thing, I think, and it fell off the first minute I drove it. So I've just had that little pointy antenna on it, and about put my eye out a couple times. So now that I've seen the quality of those antennas, we're going to try to swap that out. And it has a tennis ball too, so that's pretty cool. I did want to talk about this. I had some people in the comments ask, I think it was on some of the reels too, about my little 1/64th scale shop truck. That is Auto World. It is a Kentucky barn find, of all places, since I've been to Kentucky. And it's just a, what is the year is this one? 74 C10. And it looked good in the pictures, but the weathering wasn't consistent on it. So I got after it with some rust streaks and just tried to darken up the two-tone part. And yeah, every time I have a different truck in the shop or car in the shop, I've been trying to swap out things. Got Blazers and hot rods and stuff, so Bob has a scale version to work on. But yeah, I had some people ask about that. I found that on Marketplace, and then I went to eBay and bought them because Marketplace is sketchy. And every time I've ordered anything off Marketplace that was shipping, it's been a long, drawn-out process, so I don't trust that a whole lot, unless it's something local. But it's a neat little truck. I don't really care for the tire and wheel. And I thought I think it's the Greenlight 1/64 that unscrew. This is riveted, so to change tires and wheels, we'd have to drill rivets and things like that, and I'm not trying to do custom 1/64 scale stuff anymore. Because I don't need another hobby trying to do that. See, I've got a rat rod here, and chopped and all that. But yeah, just figured I'd touch on that. It was probably $10 for one of these, and I accidentally bought two because they looked like they were different colors, and they weren't. So yeah, let's look at some other stuff I've been buying. I've been stocking up on supplies, basically. So I went down the Etsy rabbit hole for a little bit. Got some 3D printed little CB radios and things like that. I don't remember what seller these were. There's a ton of different ones on there, and some of the brands like Shrink RC, and I think even Crawlers and Custom sells on Etsy as well. So there's a lot of RC stuff on there. But I used my last 3D printed CB radio in the Blazer. Figured I'd just grab a couple more. I think they were only like $6 or $7 a piece. I don't know why one's not assembled, but whatever. Came with a little blue solo cup. It's more little scale goodness. Got some touring car. These are China on eBay. It was like $13 shipped. It said drift tires, and then they send me rubber tires with foams. But whatever. I guess it was so cheap, I can't really complain about it. Then I get things like my torque tune Tamiya motors and a bag of cheap servos. I need to know what kind these are. I think you can get like 4 for $12, and it comes with all the horns and stuff, but what does it say on there? It just says something I can't pronounce. That's cool. Digital high speed. This is Metal Gear cheap servos. But I always put those in my touring cars and my display show cars and stuff like that, so I don't, might run them once. I haven't ever had any issues with any of those cheap ones in on-road stuff. You don't want to put that in your crawler, obviously. I gotta figure out where to put all this stuff. I keep some ESCs and things around. Also, went ahead and picked up another set of these Element. These are the Trigon wheel these are the wagon wheels that are on my Blazer now. I love these so much, I went ahead and got another set. And yeah, I'm going to paint them white and do some weathering on those, but not yet because we weathered the other ones here recently on the Blazer, the gray. And they look good. I got the General Grabbers, the same ones. These are the ATX 155 tires. Just the perfect combo for your square body. I've seen pictures of other people using them, and yeah, they look good. So, can't go wrong with that. I mean, the tires are still, they're the same price as all tires. They're about $25 a pair. But the wheels, I think, were 20 bucks for a set of 4. It wasn't, I don't remember how much it was. I think yeah, it was about 25 bucks. So all in all, 75 bucks tire and wheel. I mean, you can't beat that. And they're bead locks. So plastic, be easy to paint. I'm probably going to do them like I did the wheels on the 4Runner. I think those were already white. I just hit them with a dull coat. So if I don't have any satin white, I'll just paint them gloss white, hit them with a dull coat, and then we'll weather over that matte finish. And that worked out really well on those Blazer wheels. Had a nice soft patina without. The finish on those, like even when you buy the white metal wheels from RC4wd, it's too shiny. So when you go to weather over it, it didn't stick. But that dull coat, that matte finish, I can't remember what brand that was or where it is. Got a can of it somewhere. But it worked fantastic on that. Dull them down. And it gives you a little bit of texture for your weathering solution to go on. And lastly, you might actually take a look at this one. Oh no, not lastly. Got a different bench seat for the C10. It just doesn't look right to me with buckets. Like I said, I'm trying to build the truck that I would have, and I like the bench seat with just a regular old blanket seat cover. So I think that's what we're going to do. This one, I can't remember what, I got this off Shapeways too. This is not the shrink one. Jeremy put the shrink RC one in his truck, and you have to cut the floorboard out. This is made a little bit bigger, so it just fits over the seat bases and the console. So you can completely wrap the seat and just slide it over and attach it, whether you glue it or however you want to do it. So it's slightly disproportionate because of that, but you're not really going to see it, and it's going to save a whole lot of time in hacking, putting it in. So we're going to give that a shot. I think that was, let me look it up because I don't want to tell you wrong. So that one is from ASA 3 Scale Products, and they've got a whole bunch of stuff for the Blazer body as well. So yeah, we'll try that out. I think I've got enough seat cover left. I was looking at it earlier. I usually like to do it where the stripe's in the middle, but I don't have enough, and this is the biggest piece I've got. So I think this one we're going to do it this way. I don't know how that'll look. We'll just have to see. But last thing I got here, let me open this up. First I saw this at when I was hanging out at the 110 Rod Shop. His was blue, and yeah, this thing is actually very solid. Little air compressor. I mean, that's cast something heavy, and it is actually motorized. It's got a ridiculous amount of positive cable in there, and takes 2 AA. If we can shove all that back in there. Had this little piece here, and then that's supposed to be your gauge, and then you can actually connect some hose to it. Didn't come with any hose though. I ain't want no hose. Came with some spare belts. I'll show you on the other side if I ever get these wires in. There we go. A lot of room in there. Flip it around. This should be the on switch, I think. So we got a working air compressor. Uh-oh. Not sure why it's rattling so bad. Some of my belt may be twisted. Need some grease. I don't remember how much that was. I'm sure it was probably around 20 bucks or so. It has some stickers on it that I don't like, and it has words misspelt. It says to not get sued, so we're not going to run those. Put the spare belts up somewhere where I'll forget about them. And yeah, we don't have an air compressor in this scale garage, so that's something we actually kind of need if I can find a place to put it. And it's the best looking one I've found so far. I don't like the 3D printed ones because there's so much grain on the tank, and it takes a ton of body work, and they're often small, and just, yeah, this is metal, so I dig it. This is all plastic up here. It's got a little air filter's a 3-cylinder one. I've never seen one that big. But this neat little scale stuff. I'm going to try to throw that up here in the shop. Get it to show up on camera. I bought some stencils on Etsy. These are used for Cerakoting firearms, and they're pretty high quality. It's vinyl. This is a digital camo. This one looks like a traditional camo. I'll never get that to focus on camera. And I've got one that's a topo, like a topographical map. And I just figured that'd be cool. I got a bunch of Lexan bodies I need to paint. A couple of them, you know, aren't box art or anything like that. So we can try some custom stuff with it. I don't know where I'm going to put these yet, but fun place. Constant battle for space here. Found these at Home Depot. They're Husky. Their interlocking toolbox system. If you see me at events, I have those big Husky roll-around boxes, and the new ones you can actually strap these or latch these onto, and they're made to interlock with a lot of their other things. And it was a little pricey. I think these were around 38 bucks. But I did pick up 2 of them. I've got one stuffed full of scale accessories, but this one, I mean, they lock, and it's got a handle on top as well as just some open storage on top. But it's super handy. I took this to Kentucky with me. Had everything I needed hanging out with Jeremy: zip ties, paint pens, spare batteries, all my little tools for different hubs, files, glues, wrenches, battery straps, my little survival kit. And up top I keep all my basic stuff. I've got my main 2 wrenches, I've got wheel nuts, Phillips heads, all my small pliers, and all the odds and ends stuff that I don't use a whole lot. But this was super handy because, you know, you go to, I use it like this, so I knew right where everything was. Just set it on the bench at Jeremy's house, and I had all my tools right where I needed them. And like I said, the other one, I just started organizing scale accessories. So I have like one drawer is all scale things for trucks, like bungee cords and winches and things like that. And the other one's like little scale accessories like cups and dollhouse stuff, you know, more like that. And that worked out pretty well. Still got a lot of room to fill up on that one, but I've got a lot more bins of things to go through to find more things to organize. All right, so I got the new. It's been out for a while. Still pretty much new. We didn't drive this a whole lot. This is a new Galan 2 or Galanda 2. Galinda. Everybody wants to argue about the saying. This is the Heritage, not the Heritage Edition, was it? I can't remember what this one was called. This is the new body, the opening hood and the doors. And the chassis is pretty much all stock still. We did a few upgrades. We put, these are some Mickey Thompson, I don't remember, not Mickey Thompson, Dixie Peck Extreme Country. I had my old one, I think they were Dixie Peck Mud Countries. At the time I did this, I couldn't get those. They were out of stock. But these are about the same size, the same width. They're 1.9, and I just love the way they look on these Land Rovers. So we got the 1.9 Landy wheels, which are correct for this. So I think after all the years, if you remember way back 6-7 years ago when I first started the channel, I had Land Rovers. That was kind of what I accidentally bought the first time. I got some RC4wd drive stuff, ordered a Land Cruiser, and I got sent a D110. So we just rocked it. Then I ended up buying a Land Cruiser anyway. But yeah, you know how it goes. Figure I got to look at it, and I was like, well, that's pretty cool too. So we'll keep it. But that's what I ran on it. Was that size Dixie Peck RC4wd drive tires, and they look phenomenal. They clear, don't get minimal rubbing on these bodies, and it just looks mean. Again, that's the theme with all my trucks. If I had one in real life, you know, it's trying to think of it reasonably, you know, without unlimited budgets and things. It would probably be like that. It'd probably be stock wheels, as big a tires you could stuff on it, and just a kind of an all-around good running truck. But we added those tires and wheels. We added the sliders. Got their simple front bumper, which I like that. It's nice and clean, sticks up, protects the grill. Goes over the factory bumper, so you don't have to buy some giant expensive thing like we've done for the rear. And I'm still having problems with these rubber mirrors, man. They just will not seat. I glued the snot out of this one and tried to get it to stay, but they keep turning upside down. So I don't know what to do about that, but got our opening doors. And remember on mine, I stripped the interior out of the back. Had a whole platform, and it had the folding rear seats. I didn't like that. It seemed like it was just kind of excess weight. And the way these bodies go together, it's challenging. It's not that easy to just remove the top. The top does come off on this, but you pretty much have to strip the entire body down, windshield and everything, dash out to be able to get to the screws to remove the top from the windshield. So it was definitely a because it's the same body set basically. The green one and the one you buy unfinished from them like this, it can go both ways. You can put the truck cab on it and have the open bed, or the hard top and do it like this. You can put the interior in, you can leave it out. I like this now that I've taken the interior out because you still get that usable space inside for scale stuff. And you need some plates for this. Well, you did put lights on this as well. I just remembered. But I think I took this up to the land and drove it, and that's the last time we had it out. And feels pretty good. The shocks, I think the rears have leaked a little bit, so may need some fluid in those. But these are great trucks to drive, being that they're 3-link, 4-link, and it's all the same, you know, all metal chassis. I love that. So trying not to add too much weight to it. That was what I did on my first or second or third D90. I went full roof rack. I had the one that had the cage that went down and went over the windshield, and it immediately just ruined the suspension because you had so much weight up top, especially loaded down. I put a kayak up there and all kinds of stuff. So I didn't want to do that with this next go around. Wanted to keep it kind of light, so I took the interior out. But it's definitely missing something out back. You can get some like pintle hitch things that bolt onto there, but it's not really doing it. I mean, I like SUVs with the spare tire carrier in the back. It's just a very 90s thing. And so I got this on eBay a long time ago. I have no clue how much it was. I have no clue how you say that brand properly without laughing or giggling like a 5-year-old. So we're just not going to say it. It is what it is. It's a nice metal bumper. If I can find a knife here to open it, and we'll take a look at this and see how it's intended to go on. I'm assuming you take the other bumper off, but as all these have been, even the original release, the bumper is kind of integral to the body. So it fits in these little tabs on the bumper, and that's kind of how you align everything when you mount the body. This doesn't have that. This just has 4 screw holes, so I think you either bolt it over this or you just take this off completely. We'll find out. Alright, so it's a decent looking piece. It does have dual swing outs, and it's got a latch in the middle, which I'm not sure how it operates. Pull it. Oh wow, it's tight. Scratch the paint. Wow, that's a very, very serious latch. Ooh, that one is very tight. So there's a lot of versatility in this. You can actually take this basket off. You could leave the brackets for the basket and bolt something to it. You could take the whole thing off. You might even be able to switch which side they swing from. I don't know. You could do all kinds of stuff with this. Not sure what these little tabs... Oh, those are the stops for this. I see. It's pretty neat. So I'm going to put it all on there as it is. I don't have a matching spare. I have a set of the 155 Landies with these mud thrashers on them. I haven't used them in a while, so I'm going to throw one on here. It's the right lug pattern. Wrong size, but oh well. It'll get the job done. And it came with 5 extra of the flathead screws, which I am running low on in my storage bin, so we'll just reuse the ones here. And yeah, let's see how this thing looks. Well, alright. I'm guessing this maybe fits the other one. It might work if I bolted it over the other bumper. I knew there was going to be a problem because I got to the back and these are already, they're cut, so the flathead screws will fit down in there, and that's the back side. The front side has been done after finish at the factory and is shiny. So if we put this up here and align it, it won't fit flush with the body because the taillights are in the way. And another big issue is it sticks out pretty far on both ends of the body. It sticks out as far as the fender flare. It's just not right. I'm guessing maybe this is for the older style body, or they just don't care how well anything fits. So I don't think we're going to run that. That's just too janky. I was looking at ways maybe to flip the mounts or something, but it just doesn't jive. So I've been sitting on that. I'm sure it's well past the time frame to return it. Oh well, add it to the parts bin. Let me put the other bumper back on it. I put the other bumper back on just to set it up there. Line it. It completely obscures the taillights. Like, what's the point? You wouldn't do that on your real car. Anyway, no love lost. You know, we'll use that for something later. I've got a whole box full of bumpers of all sorts, takeoffs, custom ones, and things of that nature. So once I find that box, I'll add that to the pile. We'll have a resource for later. That might look good on the axial Bronco. Probably be about the right width. Won't be any way to mount it right though. Anyway, let me know in the comments what y'all done with these newer Jalon 2s. What kind of shocks are y'all running? What I haven't even looked at accessories for these in a while. This thing has just been sitting on a shelf since I moved back in February, so maybe we need to do some stuff with it with RC4wd drive things that fit. So yeah, let me know in the comments what y'all done with yours, and yeah, how you're liking it. So I guess we'll move on to the Amigo, or the amigoat. Still one of my favorite builds. This is the TF2 short wheelbase, and that chassis is super hard to make crawl because of the short wheelbase. A few differences: it has the same like Jalon 2 style transfer case mount that hangs down really low, and it comes with single leaf springs, which is very odd because it's very weak. But it was the only way that they could get the chassis to set lower, I guess. And yeah, this thing has been gone through. Everything's changed. The body is a nightmare to take off. This is the original Tamiya Zuzumu. I scored it out of a Facebook group about 7 or 8 years ago, before the re-release, and she is filthy. But still one of the coolest cars. Another 90s thing. These things were just so fun. You see them around everywhere. They always had the pink and purple graphics on them and stuff like that. Now they're not that many around anymore. I was looking for grins on Marketplace the other day. Seen a bunch of them in Kentucky, but not out here. They've all been trashed, unfortunately. But this was my first, and really my only, scratch-built interior I've done. We've got all kinds of stuff going on in there. The rear inner fenders are made of Tupperware. The rest of it's styrene. The dash and door panels came from, I think it was Loops models. They were Pajero, Mitsubishi Pajero interior pieces. Not a big fan of the dash, but door panels look good and it all worked together. And it all has that 90s feel. It's got some wood grain on the dash. And the axial wraith seats. Got a few scale things, but I had my CB antenna I made. This is a Tamiya semi-truck antenna. It's got that big coil spring at the bottom. Does the door stop sound. And I had stuck a tennis ball on it. And I glued it, but yeah, the minute I took it out for the test drive, I lost it. And this has stabbed me and other people many times, so time to change that out. Can't remember what motor and stuff's in this now. I did change it because it was way too fast. It was popping wheelies. I think 2 or 3 years ago at USTE, I was out there jumping on the track and yeah, having a little fun with it, and bent all the leaf springs. But yeah, it's still one of my favorite trucks, and it performs pretty good now because I've spent so much time with it. The leaf springs are soft and broken in, and the shocks on this are completely, every piece is from some other size or different shock. We've got different shafts, different bodies, different ends. Everything on it is set to where it'll still actually work as a shock, but it was made to get it as low as possible. We got the Jalon 2 hoops on the front, so move the shock body up. I can't remember what size shaft or anything. I think I had a whole video on that, just trying to yeah, make that thing work right. And you can see she's got pretty good flex. And these are, what are those called? The scrambler tires. Those are similar in size to the ones on the Jalon 2, the Land Rover. And yeah, they just look mean on here. The 155 Landies, bare steel. Here we are 5 or 6 years later. They're rusting over nicely. But just a little detail today. We've got a little bracket for this antenna. This came from Twisted Tree RC. I ran across him on Instagram. I think it's Bad Andy is his username. And yeah, he makes these cool little things. He did the one on the Blazer, and it's got the little foxtail on it, and really nice little scale detail. So we got this little bracket. I don't know if we're going to move the location. This does have a CB radio made into the custom console, and let me see if I can show you that. It's been a while since anybody's seen this truck. Coke can with the lid crushed in so we can spit in it, I guess. Got a twin stick and a little armrest cushion, CB radio, Lots of little details. Very hard to get in there and clean. The roll bar, this was before I started, or right about the time I started learning how to braze. The roll bar was unsuccessfully brazed, so I ended up bolting it together, but that's brake line. The front bumper was one of the first things I brazed, and the rear bumper is actually welded. Somebody made that for me back in the day. Nice little protection just for the Amigo body specifically. But yeah, this is Tupperware. That's just little pieces of styrene. I made the bed floor look in it, and easy peasy. The battery actually sits underneath the console. That's why the console is just a little bit oversized. But back when I built this, I was still running nickel metal packs, so I had a little mini 6-cell in there that was like a 800 or something ridiculously tiny, and I could get no runtime. So now I've got these little awesome Helios 3-cells that I can just stuff in there. I got a 2-cell that would fit in there great. I think, no, that's a 3-cell too. That's when I started driving crazy with it. But yeah, one of my favorite trucks. So this is just held in with a giant screw. I hope we can get in there. Should just be a flathead or something from my home hardware kit. We're going to move that. I'm not sure yet where I want to put this. All right. Well, that was fun. It was just a giant flathead screw, and this was threaded over it, and did not want to come off, so I had to go through and peel each layer off round by round. Ended up chipping up the interior of the paint a little bit, but I touched it up already. So I'm going to drill a hole around about here. We're going to mount this back here. Seems like it makes sense that it's over behind the tailgate where it would open, because you don't want to run your wire over here and across your tailgate to put it over here. And I can't put it high because there is an interior panel in here. It's just styrene with more like bed floor lines in it. So I think it's around about here, and that makes it look like our tennis ball's there to keep it from hitting the tail light and shattering it. So that's a little bit big. Oh well. I'm going to do it right in that body line. And looks like real bird poop on this side of the truck. Alright, let me get a screw and a nut. We'll mount this little bracket. Thought ahead, went ahead and put the antenna on because we're not going to be able to get to it with our bumper. But it has its own little wrench, or own little tool. It is smaller than what it looks like, so that was handy. Now the fun part, I got to try to hold a M3 nut up underneath there, inside the body, behind the taillight, where I can't see, and start a screw. This ought to be good. While holding the body, the car off the ground. This is going to happen. I forgot I had scale exhaust on here. It's a little rusty now. And I'm just flying blind here. Alright, that's perfect. Tennis ball's doing its job. That looks much more scale than what we had, so I'm digging it. That's if you hadn't checked them out, check out his stuff. It's a Twisted Tree. It makes really nice antennas. Like I said, that one on the Blazer, it's got the little foxtail, and but it's super high quality stuff. This isn't just metal wire. This has actually got some strand to it. It's taped up at the end so it won't fray. Spring's independent. It's got a little aluminum mount. It's held in, looks like shrink tube, and it's got all kinds of good stuff. All the little toppers and things that he puts on there are like hand wound to it, so they were not going to come off. It's pretty neat. So it's like some fly fishing lures or something. But this thing's pretty cool. We got to get this thing back out, do something with it here before long. So yeah, I think that about wraps it up for this one. What else can we work on? I'm sure I got some more stuff sitting around here. Well, if you saw the video where I went to Kentucky, hung out with Jeremy for a week, we raced some on-road stuff, and yeah, I bought this brand new Kyosho phaser. I don't know why. I've hooked on these Challengers. I really want one in real life, but I can't afford it. So I've been buying RC ones. I got the Mini Z Drift with the Hellcat body. Love that. That thing's been fun. I've actually played with that a lot out there in Jeremy's shop. I got the phaser thinking, all right, let's bump it up a scale. Yeah, it got beat to snot out there. Jeremy, we're both not good drivers, but we had a lot of fun. I had mine severely overpowered. I put I think I was actually running one of my 3000 3-cell on it right out of the box. You know, I haven't had a whole lot of RTR touring cars. And we ended up stripping some gears about halfway through our race. Luckily, it's not the pinion gear, it's this, or the pinion gear, not the spur gear. It is missing teeth and it's plastic. Like, what in the heck? A plastic pinion gear. Makes no sense. So I found one round about the same size. I don't know. This one, I don't know where it came from. It is 37 tooth. The pitch is weird. I think this was one I had on a TT01 that I had a metal spur gear. And they are all, it looks like a saw blade basically. So I don't know if that's going to be any better. We may end up just tearing up the pinion gear now. So I don't know. I'm going to do some digging on that. But I just wanted to check. That's one of the things I've been meaning to do since I got back. Let's take a look at this. And this gear is toast. You see it there. Didn't have the mesh set properly or something. I don't know. It's kind of like a TT02 the way this bolts in. Can't really adjust it without taking the screws out, changing how it's clocked on the motor. But we're missing a handful of teeth, and half of the teeth are ground down to nothing. But this thing was fast. It just, with a 3-cell, it would walk the rear end around way too much. So I didn't really have any good cornering. And this is box stock. The suspension on it is fantastic. It felt great. But you can see I've actually, the rear tires are bald on the inside already. Just from, I'd say 10 minutes of running. But the body took the brunt of the damage, unfortunately. So the body got banged up pretty good because we were full contact. It had the air dam on the front. It's gone. You can see there's a lot of pretty serious scuffs on it. I had some issues with the body and the fit and the finish anyway. The rear section is kind of like the Red Cat. The back half of the body screws on and tapes on to the body, to the main body shell. And it was set lower on one side than on the other. There's a big gap right here on this side. Didn't really do that right. Some of the things here, like they leave all this clear on the sticker for the Hellcat emblem so it can line up with that body line and that door gap, so it's in the right spot. But you have all that clear plastic or clear sticker. It just looks bad. And then for some reason, after running for a little bit, one wheel well, the body had shifted, or I don't know what. These body mounts are pretty solid, but it was hitting the wheel on the wheel arch on one corner, only one corner. So that body's pretty much toast now. It's a good thing these are cheap. The chassis overall seems pretty good. It's like a TT01, TT02 kind of deal. But plastic pinion gear, no good. But that was a lot of fun racing. I haven't got to actually race head to head like that with any of the touring cars, even when I was a kid. Like the only time I actually was on a track with any of my my TA02 was at an open track thing, and I was just out there by myself driving around. The racetrack I was at had I think it was Indy RC4wd. It's still there actually in Garland, Texas. It's a bowling alley. They used to have half indoor, half off-road track, and that's I don't remember what they were racing. It's probably 1/8 scale buggies or something like that. And they had kind of I just came in there and paid, by the hour. My dad took me up there to race my car on the track, and I'm just driving around. I think it was an oval. Wasn't anything hard. Last time I was by there, they had a actual full legit touring car track in the parking lot, and they turned the entire inside into a dirt track because now they were doing slash races and stuff. It's been a while since I've been up there. But you can see here, like, I don't know how this happened. It wasn't like this when I was out of the box. That was rubbing the fender. You can see it's cut the body a little bit. So I think that whole rear section is just not on right or something. I don't know. I was really kind of disappointed with the fit and finish of that body. I've seen Dustin in 110 Rod Shop. He's got the classic Chargers and one of the Chevelles and stuff. The other cool bodies, the retro bodies they've got. Now, I should have went that route, but I don't know. I'm a sucker for these blue new Challengers. So, my backup car, my Tamiya XV01. Now, remember I bought this used at Hobbytown I used to live by, and had some issues right out of the gate with just some parts that were damaged already I didn't know about because I didn't put the kit together. But I used the old Golf body, and this was a blast. This car, even in rally spec, it's got the long travel shocks. It had a brand new rally block tire. That thing was a beast to drive. And the motor's in the front. Well, I'll pull everything apart and we can see. I think it's going to be an easy fix. This was a pretty even match. I put a big 2-cell in it, and just, yeah, it was matching, or outperforming the associated rig that Jeremy had, the Unicorn. He was so proud of his Unicorn. It was pacing it very well, and I could leave him in the corners every time because motor up front. This chassis has excellent balance. Weight distribution is pretty good. The battery and stuff's accessible from the bottom. And I did do a little rally stuff with it the day before. It's why it's completely and utterly disgusting. But I've got a horrible servo, Savox old glitchy crawler servo that I just had laying around. So we might actually benefit from this one, putting one of those cheap ones I bought in. And I found a big leaf in there. But we'll move that. But this thing's a really, really neat platform. And I think my lower control arm may just pop back into place. Not 100% sure. Oh, I broke a shock mount too. That could be... Or did it just unscrew? Oh. Let me mess with this a minute and see what we do. So, diagnosis. It's not as easy a fix as I thought. There's a plastic piece that goes right behind the motor, which is probably brittle because of the heat from the motor. And that holds the front of your control arm in. And unfortunately ours is broken. I'm not 100% sure. It looks like the rear one may be bent as well. It took a pretty good hit. I mean, we were running wide open. That was the long sweeping curve. And yeah, I just couldn't gauge where I was on the track. And we were on the opposite side. And I just ran off and I caught a patio block or some, yeah, flower bed edging. It just took that right off. So at least I know what it looks like. I could go through the instruction manual if I have the one for that. Find the part number, and I'm sure it's pretty inexpensive. The upper shock, I guess that just came loose. Probably from rattling in the car driving across the country, but that'll snap right back on. I got it tight. Probably need to add some Loctite to that. I guess that about wraps it up for tonight, guys. I'm kind of caught up, cleaned up the shop a little bit. I'm really happy with the Amigo. That's about the only thing that worked out tonight in the video, but it is what it is. I think that's still one of my favorite trucks. We need to get it out and run it again. It's been quite a while. So, anyways, appreciate y'all watching. Appreciate everybody who, really gets what we're doing here and just enjoys the content. Makes it worthwhile for me to do. And I see y'all in the comments. But let me know again what we were going to do with that D90 Land Rover. What kind of stuff y'all want to see with that? We need to do some more stuff to it. We definitely need to upgrade electronics and yeah, see if we can make it a little more scale. And yeah, until next time, guys, keep it scale. I'll see y'all in the next video.